Hi everyone, this is Paul Cooper with Totes of Notes, and I'm bringing you your third day of Christmas. And on the third day of Christmas, Totes of Notes is going to give to you 3 ways to win in 2020. So we're going to go over 3 different ways that you can win and probably bet against the markets and see good results for the following year. Now the first way you can win in the next year is to bet against stupid. Sometimes we're surrounded by so much stupid that you really don't know which way to go. Case in point, our whole political system right now. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, moderate, whatever. I think everyone's sick and tired of this whole impeachment process. It's been absolutely crazy. It's all pretty much anyone talks about in the political sphere. Really, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we're going to have any good choices coming up in the following year for president, and our government is just going to remain stupid. And again, it doesn't really matter which side of the spectrum you're on. It's pretty sad. The hard part is how do we bet against that? If we knew that a Democrat was going to get in office, that would allow us to bet certain ways. If we knew a Republican was going to get in office, that would allow us to bet others. The main thing you can count on is that there's probably going to be a lot of turmoil this next year, and no matter who gets elected, to really just be cautious with that. Now, there is a lot more stupid out there that's much more obvious and easier to spot. So here are a few stupid things that are dumber than having you run in circles in a revolving door. So if you don't live on the West Coast, you may not be familiar that there are some sanctuary cities like San Francisco that are literally being overrun with human feces, drug paraphernalia, and homeless people just everywhere. And so San Francisco just lost another convention over human feces in the street, drug addicts, needles, things like that, than have a nice, clean, safe city. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't be sympathetic to these people and try to help them, but leaving them on the streets is not the right answer. And then here's another prime example of stupid. We've talked about Elon Musk quite a bit over the past year or so, and he just continues to have bizarre behavior. He just released this new Tesla truck that's going to come out. It's really weird looking. There aren't many details. He says it's bulletproof, and it's not. It's just a really bizarre move, and Tesla continues to scramble for cash because they're burning through it at an exorbitant rate. So while Tesla may make a pretty decent car, they're still not profitable, and the fact that their price for their stock keeps going up and is actually valued at where it is just insane. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to bet against Tesla in the near future. Another prime example is WeWorks. If you haven't heard about that whole fiasco, WeWorks is a company that went around leasing all this commercial space across the United States, and then they create these master leases where they then sublease everything out to other companies. It was an interesting idea and concept, but the problem is when the economy starts to turn, the first thing that goes is usually commercial real estate. So now they're going to be on the hook for all these lease payments. When the people and companies that they're subleasing to leave, they're going to be left holding the bag, and that's started to happen. The company's been having a lot of issues. They're having massive layoffs. They're not making any money. Yet somehow the guy that created the company is still able to walk away with all this money and get paid off. I've actually talked to one investor that lives in the New York area that was betting against WeWork. He's been doing it for probably a little over a year, and he's just now starting to see quite a bit of profits. So kudos to him. That was a very smart decision on his part. And there are just all these companies that are somehow worth $1 billion when they're actually really not worth anything. And then lastly, if you ever had any doubts that we're in a crazy bull market, we're actually in the longest bull market of all time, we've got this stupid artwork that's a banana on the wall. If you haven't heard about this, it's literally a banana duct taped to a wall, and I think it's sold for like $120,000, something just obscene. And then the artist created more of them to keep up with demand to sell to other people. It's a banana taped against a wall. It's not special tape. It's not a special banana. I think the artist even said they spent like 47 cents on the banana. And they get these idiots to come in and look at it, and someone drops 6 figures on this stuff. Well, it's not all bad, because another performing artist came in and ate the banana. And guess what? They don't feel sorry about it, and they got arrested. And so now they're going to have the whole legal dispute on how much can they really charge this person worth. I mean, all they did was take a banana off a wall and eat it. Was it really ever worth $120,000? So that'll be an interesting case to keep an eye on. But yeah, if you're ever in doubt, there's a lot of stupid out there, and there's a lot of people that have money that are stupid. Unfortunately, our government thinks that if you have money, you're smart, but that's usually not the case, unfortunately. So wherever you can find stupid, look at it and see if you can bet against it, because it's probably going to pay off in the long term. The second big way you can win in 2020 is to take control in a self-directed IRA or other qualified retirement plan. Now, it can be very confusing. It can have you looking like this guy here where you've drank too much eggnog. I get it. It can be very tough and you don't want to make any mistakes. That's why I'm going to suggest several companies that I've either worked with personally or some of my investors or fellow colleagues have worked with and had good experiences. You're still going to need to get more education on that. We talk a little bit about self-directed IRAs. I'll have more on that in the future. Hopefully on the podcast, we'll probably have some custodians come on and explain some things. When in doubt, talk to the custodian and talk to a qualified CPA and attorney just to make sure that you're keeping things right. Because you may think that you don't want to spend a bunch of money up front to learn this stuff when your investment's only going to be, several $1,000s. It could come back to haunt you. You don't want it to come back and haunt you 10 years later where your investment's grown to 6 or 7 figures and the IRS is like, hey, that was bad, you broke the law here, you owe us taxes and penalties, and they just dissolve your IRA. So make sure to spend the time and the money to learn how to use it properly. And here's some custodians, again, that I've worked with and like. Quest Trust Company, I've worked with them quite a bit. I have my account with them. I'm actually moving some money over to do more stuff. I've been to the Quest Expo. It was a pretty good expo. I went to that for the first year. They continue to do a good job. They have a lot of free education. And you do not have to be a customer of theirs to call them and get questions answered. They are more than happy to sit down and talk with you, and they put on a lot of good educational products. SunWest Trust, I've got a few JV partners that have used them before. They seem very straightforward and easy to use. They've always been very pleasant to work with and no hiccups or anything. Again, I've never personally used them, but they seem to be very straightforward and I don't have any issues with them. Advanced IRA is another big one. They put out a lot of good stuff. Again, I know people that use them and have been very happy with them. I think the fees are supposed to be fine and not too much of a hassle. New View Trust Company is another good self-directed IRA custodian that I know a lot of people that have worked with. And Pensco Trust Company is another good self-directed IRA that I know a lot of people have worked with. All these companies should be good. Hopefully you have good experiences if you move with them. Make sure to reach out to them, ask questions, talk to people that have used them. And these are also companies that I do research on. If I'm looking for potential real estate investors that have invested with their IRAs before, then what you can do is you can go to county websites and look for things that are held in these companies' names. And a lot of times those will be IRA investors. And if you reach out to those people, they're probably pretty savvy, probably a good way to potentially get a lot of information on the areas they're investing in and other tactics they use. And the final way you can win in 2020 is tuning into our new podcast called the Take Note Podcast. It'll be starting in early January with the new year. It's going to cover note investing, real estate, finance, and pretty much anything you could need to either start your own business, run your own business, or just do investing. We're going to be fairly wide in what we cover. We're going to cover different markets, different types of investing. We're going to have different realtors from different cities involved on the show. That way, if you're interested in a certain market, then maybe we can cover your market and we'll give you very specific market advice to what you need to do. Because it doesn't help to know what the general economy is doing if your market has a little bit of a schism. Like right here on the Front Range, we're probably not going to see as much of a pullback as the rest of the country does when the market finally decides to change because our market's been so hot. We've had so many people moving here that our prices are really high and we can't keep up with demand. However, other parts of the country like Kansas City, Detroit, parts of Ohio where it's going to be much more blue collar and the economies haven't been as hot, there's probably going to be more of a pullback, and so it would be very helpful if we can give you specific market advice. We're also going to have some vendors on here. We're going to have Dickie Baldwin from Baldwin Advisory Group on here. I've known Dickie for not quite 2 years now. He's helped me a lot with my business. He has a great network of vendors and people that can help you no matter what type of real estate you're doing. And so basically every time that I even do any type of due diligence, let alone acquire a new asset, I'm calling Dickie because he's going to help me one way or the other. He can help you find people that'll do title work. He helps me with realtors, get realtors out there to look at properties. So that'll be a very good one to listen to if you're interested in doing any type of real estate investing. Even if you don't own a business or not looking to have a real estate business, if you just want to do an investment here or there, he's probably a good guy to contact and he'll help you out. We're probably going to have quite a few investors and realtors from the Colorado Springs area on the podcast. I'm part of a really good meetup group up in the Colorado Springs area that meets every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. They're over at Carol's Coffee off of Garden of God Roads. Make sure to swing by if you can. It's probably my favorite real estate group. Everyone there's generally very active, whether they're starting out or they've been involved for a while. There's no one person taking over the group. There's just a lot of really good people from different experience levels that are wanting to help you there. There's generally never any agenda. There may be a topic that people focus on more during one meeting, but it's usually very open. If you come in with a problem or a deal, people there are more than likely going to be able to help you and get you in connection with the right people. So that'll be very good. I'm really looking forward to that. So if you have any interest in the Front Range area, those people will be very helpful with that. And then there's also some other investors in that group that have been investing for a very long time. I would call them, the older guys, really experienced, invested across the nation. And a few of them do some public speaking and seminars once or twice a year. That'll be really good if you want to know how to do wholesaling, fix and flip, or rentals. There's some phenomenal people in that group that we're hopefully going to be able to have on. And here are some ways that you can stay tuned to our podcast and help participate. You can go to youtube.com/c/totes of notes. That's our YouTube channel. And if you have a spare moment, I'd really appreciate it if you could go to bit.ly/take-note-podcast. There's a little web form there that you can fill out to tune into the program. And more importantly, there's a bunch of questions we asked about your interests. We want to make sure that we're covering topics that you're interested in and keeping it fresh and covering the areas of the country you want to know. So there are parts in there where you can select what type of investing you're interested in, if you're interested in business, if you're just interested in investing, different types of real estate investing, and if there are certain markets you'd like us to cover. So please, if you have a spare moment, swing by there and stay active and let us know what you're really looking for so we can provide you with a better experience. And then lastly, you can always text the word TOTES to 72,000 to stay active that way. But anyways, that's it for the third day of Christmas. These are the 3 ways that you can win in 2020. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to reach out, and I hope you have a good holiday season.